I just finished the HSR 3.5 main story, and I thought it was good overall, but I still think there are some pretty obvious ongoing problems with the story. Mainly the storytelling, which I think is still really lacking. I mean, it's been an ongoing issue since the beginning of Amphorius, since 3.0, at the very least, but I think it hurts even more because I play Genshin too, and that game has had drastically improved storytelling throughout the last few patches. And I think the hardest part about like a story in a gacha game is probably getting like the story writing down, like having a good story. So when it can't really be told to its full potential because of really just lackluster storytelling, which I would argue is probably the easier part. It kind of hurts to see that because there's just so much potential there still. And my first issue with the storytelling is probably the pacing. I mean, it's gotten a lot better since the beginning of Amphorius because the beginning, like since 3.0 and I think 3.1 also, were really long and just really slow, and there was a bunch of drama, quote unquote. And I actually thought this patch, the pacing wasn't even that bad up until the Islands and Ceridra like mini story arc that they put in the middle, which I thought was so painfully obvious that it was just meant to be a companion quest. And I know it's pretty public information that a lot of people don't even play the companion quest, so the Hoyoverse solution to it in their games is to just incorporate it into the main quest. But like it just really ruins the flow of the story, and it just drags on, and it doesn't need to be there, which is why it was a companion quest to begin with originally, right? And I don't even think it was integrated that poorly this time either. Like it could have been a lot worse than it actually was, and it kind of fit. But I think when they were making it, they kind of knew this also, because you kind of have the dialogue options at this point in the story where the Trailblazer is pretty much asking Lygus if like, hey, why are you showing me this, or did you think I'd falter because of this? And then his response is basically like, I mean, I gave up on using words to solve conflicts 2,000 years ago, but if there's even a chance that made you doubt yourself, that like he's already won or whatever. And like, okay, that's fair reasoning. Like, I can see that being the character that Lygus is portrayed to be in the story. That being said, it's just like you're making shit up to fit it in the story. Like this doesn't need to be there at all. Like you could have cut this part out and it would have been perfectly fine, kind of. So that's like my one big issue I noticed with it. Now my other problems with the storytelling, I think for one, we had the whole like black screen, white text drama, if you want to call it that, a while ago, and I think that's improved marginally, but you can still kind of see it in places, and like it's fine most of the time. But I think in this patch, I did notice like one or two places I think where I was like, damn, I really wish there was something here instead of like a black screen. Example A, the scene of Heisland's drinking the honeydew, and they just, I mean, I'm sure they could have given us a separate image of her like drinking it so I don't have to imagine it in my head. I mean, that would have been nice. But I mean, that's kind of me nitpicking a little bit. One thing I will say though, I think this is a major issue slightly related to that, is the character expressions when it's not a pre-rendered cutscene needs so much work. Like I am so tired of seeing the same like hand over heart emote that every single character does whenever they show a fraction of emotion. Like I'm so sick and tired of seeing that done like 5 times by one character in like one 5-minute scene. And this extends even to the NPCs. Like I noticed this in prior patches too. The NPCs in Amphorius, I mean maybe the whole game in general too, feel so lifeless. Like they just spam the same emotes, and like all the children had the same or similar jumping in the air animation. Like they clap their hands or whatever, and it's just almost unsettling because they don't seem like real people almost. And I mean, I'm sure they can do better than that. Like we've seen it in Genshin. They've improved a lot over there, right? And I'm not saying I need to see that immediately here, but some extra gestures here and there. And I think I kind of saw that with Saridra too, where I don't know if it's just her character that makes it feel like this, or if there were actually some changes made, but she feels kind of befitting her status and character personality. Speaking of Saridra, I'm glad they decided to handle her character and how that happened in the story and her death like on screen this time through actual visuals instead of off screening like they did to Aglaya, which I still can't believe happened. But I mean, I really do wish some of this improves because I do think the story has come a long way, but for the HSR story to essentially consist of most of the main content in the story at this point, because it's not like we're getting that many events, and it's still lacking in quality compared to some of the other Hoyoverse titles. I don't know. Maybe I'm just super picky and in the minority, but that's just how I feel about it for now. Nah, I mean, I guess not to be super negative, there are a lot of things that I thought were good this time around in this patch. As always, I think the cinematics this time were all pretty well placed and beautiful in a sense. Um, the lore expanding with Lycus's true identity and how his boss fight was handled. I think also his boss fight theme is one of my favorite themes in the game in general, which I thought was really good. And I mean, the HSR music is always pretty nice. I will say though, I forgot to mention this a little bit earlier. I don't know. I think, okay, bothered is probably too aggressive of a word to describe this, but it feels a little odd to me that they keep making Cyrene flirt kinda with the Trailblazer because, like, if you really think about it, we haven't really spent that much time together, and like, there's the whole issue of memories and all that, and it feels kind of out of place because at least with Firefly, we spent a lot of time together with her. Like, we essentially went on a date with her and like took photos and stuff, so that kind of makes sense. But this, I don't really know. It feels odd to me. I'm not super opposed to it or anything, but I'm not like super for it either, given how it's done here. Yeah, I mean, overall, I still thought the 3.5 story quest was pretty good, and I enjoyed it. Like, I'd probably give it around like an 8 out of 10 in terms of my personal enjoyment. Obviously, I can't speak for everybody else because people enjoy things in different ways, but I just thought that there were things that could be improved, and this has kind of been an ongoing thought for a while, so I just thought I'd rant into the void for a little bit. And who knows, maybe I'll look back on this in like a few months or something and find that a lot has improved and think to myself, like, wow, this game has come a long way.